Hey gang, Shane Patrick White here, and welcome to Beyond the Process. If you're not familiar with the work of horror comic artist Bernie Wrightson, then you've probably been living under 6 feet of rotting corpses. His seminal work for Mary Shelley's Frankenstein harkens back to the golden age of illustration, but he's also known for works such as Batman and Swamp Thing for DC Comics. Well, I'll be inking a beautifully rendered page that I found online that I'd never seen before. So if you'd like to see how I tackle this immaculately detailed page, sit back, relax, and enjoy the process. Starting off as always, I use Speedball Super Black ink and my trusty Winsor Newton Series 7 No. 2 brush on 2-ply Strathmore 500 series Bristol paper. I know that's a mouthful, but quality ingredients go a long way with me. You'll notice that this piece is fully penciled. That means there's a lot of halftone pencil shading that beautifully renders the volume of the typewriter and handcuffs, making the feathering in the hands really stand out. Choices like that, along with big open areas of white, like on top of the typewriter and the typing paper itself, make Bernie Wrightson a master of the craft. I get down to business and ink the hands first because they just look too much fun. That, and I'm thinking all the while how I might tackle all those typewriter keys. I opt for a bouncy outline of thick and thins. This brings more life to those very dead-looking hands. With the contours of the feathering, I'm leaning into the strokes to create volume, and I'm playing with the thickness and scale. This combination of rhythms will catch the eye and hold your attention. So as not to eat all my dessert before the main meal, I'll take a crack at pulling some longer contour lines in the handcuffs. This does double duty as it'll help me finish off the one arm. When inking curves of any kind, I ink a small bit of the curve at a time. I try and keep my hand and elbow placement exactly where it's comfortable, and I spin the paper to adjust the angle. This keeps me from losing that much-needed control. As you might guess, a lot of the movement for inking lines and curves comes from the elbow. So planting it and inking with your whole arm really keeps everything steady. Likewise, when inking feathered line work, it may vary between just your wrist for the small stuff and some of your arm for a bit longer feathering. Finding your range and capability here will be important to understand. Personally, I'm not a gore kind of guy. I like the more comic bookery stuff like this. I don't care for it to be too realistic, but your mileage may vary. What's tough about this piece is having to make choices to describe the subtle gradation of light on the typewriter. I could try to dry brush everything if I wanted to be that literal, but I choose to use line to give myself a challenge and to see if I can make it work. Inking mechanical elements of any kind takes a lot of practice when using a brush and doing it freehand. Sometimes tracing off reference images of machinery like engines or industrial sites like petroleum refineries and then printing them out in blue line is a good way to develop these skills. Early in my career, I used to ink cars using French curves and ellipses. But at some point, I didn't even need those to get those smooth, sexy lines. It just took diligence and practice to get to that point. Remember, no detail is too small to get right. If you slack off on the uninteresting parts, it'll show. It's about the sum of all the pieces that really make a work of art sing. If the artist took the time to pencil it, then you should find a way to honor that. Even if they didn't, your job is to level up the penciler's work. Because, let's face it, commercial comics are a team sport. On the flip side of that, if you're working as an independent creator, there's a make it or break it attitude. You really can't have a bad day because sales are so important. Communication with your penciler is critical. Right out of the gate, it should feel like you've been working together all your life. When you finish inking a page, it's good practice to hang it on a wall next to other pages and check to see if it balances out in its spotting of blacks and its rhythm of lines. This is a way to provide self-governing quality control before scanning and sending it out. If you can, it's even better to wait a day before making any decision, as fresh eyes will always spot things you hadn't seen while embroiled in the heat of art making. Finally, I can say I inked Bernie Wrightson. There was a lot of textures to play with, which made the process a whole lot of fun. And I hoped you had fun too. Good luck in your own inking pursuits. Thanks again for joining me today. If you found any value in this, hit the like button. Better yet, subscribe or tell a friend. Until next time, thanks for watching.